I'm Tracy Lawson. My novel, Answering Liberty's Call, sheds light on a little-known conspiracy against General George Washington that played out during the darkest hour of the American Revolution, the long, cold winter at Valley Forge. The story is based on a family tale, and it's told through the eyes of Anna Asbury Stone, who is my 6 times great-grandmother. When her soldier husband and brothers face starvation at Valley Forge, Anna gets on her horse and strikes out over 200 miles of rough, unfamiliar roads to bring them life-sustaining supplies. Along the way, she's swept up in the conspiracy, and carrying a message of warning, she races to reach Valley Forge before one of the conspirators, who is in hot pursuit, can intercept her. I thoroughly enjoy visiting this family legend and crafting it into a novel. And part of that was developing a relationship between my 6 times great-grandmother and my 6 times great-grandfather, Reverend Benjamin Stone. Anna's courtship with her husband Benjamin and their wedding is shown in flashback. And so I enjoyed envisioning Anna's wedding ensemble. And once the book manuscript was off to the editor, I decided to use period patterns, fabrics, and sewing techniques to create it. Before I get into the methods I used to create the gown, I want to mention the great wheel at the back of this tableau. We moved into a new house a couple of months ago, and the wheel came with the house. So haven't learned to use it yet, but I did do a little research and discovered that it was manufactured in the 1830s in Philadelphia by a firm owned by Leonard Repsher. Once things slow down with the book, maybe I'll figure out how to use it.
In the 1700s, women's underthings included a shift, which is a loose-fitting, knee-length linen garment, and a corset, also called stays or jumps. Stays were intended to support the bust and create a conical silhouette, kind of like an inverted triangle. Colonial women didn't pull their stays tight enough to achieve the wasp-waisted look fashionable during the mid-1800s. I cut Anna's stays from twill fabric with an outer layer of linen that will match the shift. I marked the channels that hold the boning before stitching. Anna would have used thin strips of wood or whalebone for shaping, but I opted to use flexible plastic boning available at fabric stores. I punched the eyelet holes with an awl and used a buttonhole stitch to bind them. These stays lace in both the front and the back, so there were a lot of eyelets. Though I laced the back of the stays the way we would a pair of sneakers, the front lacing is done in a spiral, so the wearer can easily dress herself. This shift's front and back are one long piece, with side gores like triangles set near the bottom. To keep the linen from fraying when it's washed, colonial women flat-felled the seams. Making one seam allowance wider than the other made it easy to fold the seam allowance over and catch in the narrower side and stitch it all down. The sleeves are a simple rectangle with a square gusset added in the underarm, again to give the wearer more ease of movement. I used the flat fell seam technique on all the seams in the shift. A drawstring casing at the neckline allows the wearer to adjust the opening. Because all women's and girls' underthings looked alike, embroidering initials on the fronts of shifts helped sort the laundry. The number was to keep the household inventory and help the lady rotate through her clothing. In the next video, I'll assemble the petticoat and the polonaise.